Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Let's Talk HR show with myself, Jack Nolan, and my special guest today, Tara Lochery, talking about all things mental health and HR. So, Tara, what does HR mean to you?
Well, HR to me, Jack, is about bringing the people together with the business. And people are so important within a business, and without them, you are nothing. So it's really important to connect the two together. And that's where HR and HR professionals really come into their own.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. It's so important to get everyone working together and everyone feel like they're a part of the business as well. So it's really important that. What inspired and influenced you to work within HR?
Well, for me, I really like people. I'd done a master's in occupational psychology, and if you do that, you either go and be an occupational psychologist or you go into HR. And it was the options that were available to me at the time. So I went and was in-house HR and was able to bring the occupational psychology background into my practice.
That's brilliant. That's really brilliant to hear that you've gone on that educational journey to get educated and learn all about people and the way people, what motivates them, what makes them move, what makes them tick, and to be able to apply skills into your career. It's just massive. So congratulations there.
Thank you very much.
No worries. So why did you, I messed up a little bit there. I got my questions. Okay. I've got a cheat sheet here because I can't remember all my questions, but here they are. So why did you choose to work in your current organisation?
So my current organisation, they're a global organisation, so I'm contracting at the moment, and they do have a strong focus on wellbeing for their employees. I'm about to move into a more permanent role with another organisation. The reason I've chosen to work there is they've completely turned the HR department around. They were working, HR weren't really working for the business, and they want HR to work for the business and the people. They recognised that that was an issue and they decided to make that change. So they're at the beginning of their journey. And I'm going to be doing things like the well-being, leadership, engagement. So if a company is up for all that good stuff, then I'm good. But if then on my job search, one of the things that the recruiters have been asking me was, what do you want? What kind of company do you want to work for? And my answer was usually, well, it's easy to tell you where I don't want to work. I don't want to work for an organisation where the people aren't important. I don't want that uphill battle. I don't mind if they haven't got a massive budget, or if they're not there yet, but they have to recognise, first off, that the people are important, and then, I can do my stuff based on the back of that, but I don't want the uphill journey of fighting for what is right all the time.
Absolutely, because you're all on the same team at the end of the day, aren't you? So you don't want to be like knocking heads, or then to move forward if you've got creative solutions to move forward. So how important is it emotional well-being and mental health within the workforce?
Well, it's so important, isn't it? Because that affects performance at the end of the day. And if your employees aren't, ideally you want them at the peak, but who's ever at the peak for any long period of time? That doesn't happen, but you need to be able to support them. It's important to do that morally, but also it's important for the success of your business to do that, because the knock-on effect of people not being emotionally and mentally well, you're going to see that in your bottom line.
Absolutely. And I think we're going to move on to strategies in a minute, but you're absolutely right, because if everyone's head's not 100% on it, then people, it can have a knock-on effect. People can start to sway, people can start to fall apart a little bit, and it can affect the whole team. So it's like having that positive energy all the time, which can be a bit draining because it's hard to be positive 100% of the time. But it's being able to be open enough to say, I'm having a bad day. You know what I mean? Being able to start a conversation and be able to go, we are human at the end of the day, but we're all there for a reason and to help drive the business to move forward, because essentially that's what pays our bills and mortgages and everything else. So that's what, it's what it's all about. So what strategies have you found beneficial to help support your employees' well-being and development?
So I think a baseline strategy would be to have an employee assistance program, for example. If you can, well-being workshops I've found really good, things like a gym membership, any support that you can give people to be healthy and active is always good. But all that falls by the wayside if the leadership aren't up to scratch. So if you've then got all that in place, but you've got a team of managers who are micromanaging, then that's a complete waste of time. So actually it falls to the culture of the organisation and the leadership and how they perform. So things then like your leadership program and making sure that the managers know how to have conversations with their employees and what kind of communications should be sent out, shouldn't be sent out, when to send things out in an email, when to have a one-to-one conversation with an employee, with a team. Those are all equally as important as doing things like the extras or things that we would see as extras.
Absolutely. And I think, like, even as leaders, I think we need to sort of share our vulnerabilities to sort of say, look, this is what's going on in my life. We've all had them experiences where, for example, you might have had an argument with your mum, your dad, your partner, the kids might not have slept last night. You've been up all night and you've been thinking, oh my God, I've got to come into work the next day. Everyone's going to war every morning to get into work in their own mind before they even get into the battlefield of going into work. So it's being able to create them conversations and to create that safe space where people can have the courage to speak to the bosses about these things, even though the bosses, like you said, might be micromanaging. But again, being able to create that independence within people, that trust and empathy to be able to say, let's measure results, not time spent messing around doing nothing. You know what I mean? Just wasting time sometimes. But again, that's amazing to hear. So we'll come towards my final question now, Tara, and that is, in your experience, what have you found creates great leadership in your teams?
So I think you've just said it. Is about being able to be vulnerable yourself. I mean, that doesn't mean that you go into work and you share every single problem that you've got with the team, but it's okay to not be okay, and let them know that. And whatever behaviour you want to see, you have to model that. So if you want people to perform, you need to perform. If you want them to be open and honest, you need to be open and honest. If you want them to be kind, you need to be kind. So you just display the behaviour that you want to see, and then that will follow. And if it doesn't follow, well, that's a different HR issue.
Yeah, of course. It's leading by example, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, you can't expect everyone to be great if you're not putting in that great work yourself. You know what I mean? It's having that moral authority to be able to say, look, this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to move forward. These are the goals we want. Look, if we all move towards this goal, it's going to have a massive positive impact on all of us. You know what I mean? Bonuses, results, or whatever the structure is within that company. You know what I mean? And I think a good thing to start really is I've just spoke to a company the other day, did a talk from Wreck-It. They're quite a big company, so it was quite an exciting opportunity for myself. But it was good to be able to share with them that, like, ideas such as positive gossip. I know it might sound a bit cheesy, but even if people in the workforce are just being like positively open with each other and spreading that positive gossip about people's work and how great they're doing, makes people feel valued, makes people go, oh my God, people are talking about me in a positive way when it gets back to that individual who's done great work. You know what I mean? Sharing ideas like that and sharing like ideas such as vulnerability circles where, for example, once a week or maybe once a month, you all get together in little groups, and then, you can get someone like myself to come in and just sort of open up, to facilitate them vulnerability circles, to be able to then say, getting leaders to share their vulnerabilities first makes them people look like they're actually human like me, from the people below them. You know what I mean? Like people who are in entry-level roles can look up to leaders and go, actually, I even like that leader even more now because he's told me that, his kids was upset last night and he's had a bad day and he's been stuck in traffic and he's been stressed. All these little small things add up. You know what I mean? Massive towards leadership, I think, being able to share them vulnerabilities first and then saying, look, this is how we're going to overcome these adversities, and here we are to support each other and move forward. You know what I mean? It's no point, us all stressed out and then fighting with each other. And actually, really, the problem is that we just got personal problems at home and we're not sharing. It's having that knock-on effect. That's my opinion. You know what I mean? But
well, leaders should act as role models, shouldn't they, to the rest of the organisation? But they should also be accessible. But they should never be like out of sight or inaccessible. They should be accessible, and it should be attainable to get to wherever they are. Because if you show your vulnerabilities, you can show actually, it's not, it's not easy for me. I have had my hardships, and I've overcome them, and here's how I've done it.
Absolutely bang on. Because like, they are role models, and having an open door policy where someone can just check in with a leader, whether it's just have a quick coffee, quick chat, or whatever. It makes a difference, doesn't it? In feeling like everyone's valued and everyone's equal, even though we have different positions in the hierarchies of a business.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all people. We're all human beings at the end of the day.
And we've all got value to bring, you know what I mean? We've all got a different perspective, a different story, a different solution. So it's massive leadership. Oh, Tara, thank you for sharing your wisdom with me today and to all our audience.
You're welcome.
We've come towards the end now, I suppose, but I could chat to you all day, but I know that I've got to wrap up at some point. So thank you so much for sharing that wisdom and insights with us today and my audience. So
thanks for having me.
No worries. So I'm going to round it up, guys. So thank you for listening in. I look forward to having a chat with you and listen to our conversations again in the future. Have an amazing day and stay strong, everyone. Take care and bye for now. Bye.